I feel the cool breeze, it's such a lovely tease.
Hi everybody and welcome to our Posca Paint Party. And today is the Posca Pro Day, which means Drew is going to be going deep into technique. And today it's all about the blend is your friend.
Yeah, so, today's going to be, we've had a lot of questions over the last few paint parties. And so we really want to address some of the problems people are having because we keep getting the same questions over and over again. So today is your chance to hit me with as many questions as you can. I'm going to kind of go over some of the things that I think that you're having trouble with. And hopefully that helps you be faster and more confident and paint with ease. And it's also a chance for you to show me what you're working on, catch up. And yeah, so let's have a great day.
And I want to make an announcement, and that is for those of you who have been buying Posca Paint Pens off of our website, thank you so much. And we have great news. We finally, because you've been asking, we've added individual paint pens, so you can order just one of a particular color in a variety of sizes. And that's brophyartacademy.com. And then what's one last thing I want to mention before I go behind the curtains is we are giving these paint pens away, this gift box, to one lucky winner. And of course that will be announced after the hour.
Who won the last
So our friend Ty won. Our friend, because we know him personally, he's in San Diego. Ty, if you are out there and you didn't read the email, you are the winner. And then we had a second winner who won the I'm looking for it. It's not here, but the butterfly, Santino. Santino won the butterfly, and he's already emailed me, and he's going to send me an address of somebody, a friend, to send it to.
Cool.
All right, so one of you all are going to win this today.
All right. Cool.
All right,
well,
I'm going behind the curtain. I'll see you all later.
All right, everybody. So let me get all this stuff out of the way, get situated. So we had a lot of questions about blending, and I noticed a lot of people are painting on different materials. And so I want to go over that and why some of you are having troubles blending. So please, this is not going to be like most of the other ones where we talk for like 20 minutes and then get talking to other people. Let's just kind of open this up to questions right away and start getting conversation going about what you're having problems with, so I can answer as many questions as possible. I'm going to start out while you guys get your questions ready and get set. Just kind of showing you some different ideas. I've noticed a lot of people painting on scrap pieces of cardboard and a lot of people painting on paper. So if in case you missed it, some of you maybe caught it, if you are painting on those materials, the pens tend to soak in. So if you look at these two pieces of cardboard, I coated one and one is natural. So if you paint on a natural piece of cardboard or a piece of paper, it's not gonna blend as easy due to the fact that it's soaking in so fast that you can't blend. What I've done with this is I've coated it with clear spray paint. This is a satin finish, acrylic clear. You can buy it at any hardware store. There is a version of this that is strictly a fixative, which will work just fine. It's flat, and this one's got a little satin sheen to it, so you can kind of see the sheen. But what this is going to allow you to do is let it blend. So let me just show you the two differences here. Let's get a blend going. So when you do this on the uncoated, it's like almost like you can't ever paint fast enough to get the blend. You'll get a little bit of the blend, but it's not blending, it's soaking in. So a lot of you are getting frustrated watching me paint probably, and then not realizing that, I have a different little process going here. And this is also what would happen on paper. So that doesn't look terrible, but let's do it on this one. So this one's been coated, it stays wetter longer. You can really feel it. And it's still wet. So I can actually come back and kind of play with it like this. Now this is a big difference. This is going to help you a lot, just understanding that coating process. Now, this is, you know, my way of painting is by blending. Some people might want to paint flat. And so if you're painting like flat colors, paper works great. You will get like a little bit of, if it's a thin paper, it'll start to, you know, crinkle and bow. Watercolor paper actually works really good, and coating the watercolor paper first, even with just white paint or something, would work good too. But you can kind of see these two differences, and you can see this one's a little bit more choppy, this one's a little bit more blended. And you know, I can keep going out from there. Let's see, clean off this. And this one's actually still wet. I don't know if you can see it. Let's see. You see how it's still wet in the frame? And that's just because it didn't soak in. So you can imagine how much easier it is to blend while it's still wet and still being able to go back. And so like on a surfboard, this does this naturally. So it takes a little bit longer to dry, you know, maybe like a minute or so. And it depends on temperature and things like that, but you can really see how that works. All right, so that's that coating part, which is, you know, so important. So any of you painting on paper or cardboard or scraps, that's your solution. So hopefully everybody got that. And then the other thing is, like, this is a surfboard that I painted. So this is coated cardboard already. So that's why it works so good. And a lot of coated cardboards, like say if you had like a shoe box or something like that, that would be like usually a coated cardboard. If it's just, you know, kind of brown like this, it's probably not coated. But anything that's been printed, if it's a white box, it's been coated. So all those types of scraps work really great. Let's just play with this one real quick. And that same thing. Do we have any questions out there or comments, or not yet?
None that I see yet, but I do want to make a few shout outs to people. Our good friend Jason Rideout is here. Jason, what's up? We do expect to see some of your art today.
Yeah, Jason, how are you, man?
And then Brittoni is here, and Brittoni came up with this amazing idea for a love cell. And so I put a message in Brittoni in the chat to ask if she wanted to share that sometime in a little while. But we've got people from all over the world joining us right now. Ashley from Wisconsin. We've got, let's see, we've got Rita from Oceanside.
All right.
And Ty is on, and he did not know he was the winner until just a little while ago, so he's pretty happy.
Ty is stoked. So you can see on this how this nice blend I've got on this little mini surfboard. And if this was just a piece of paper, I would not be able to get that blend as nice. Just like how you saw it on the coated cardboard, how well it was able to stay wet. And the same here, like I'm mixing this right onto the surface and blending it because I put that white in there. And you know, this is a good example of, you can see how I'm not just going up and down, I'm actually going with the curve to try to get this blend, which is a little tricky, but I want to put a lot of white on there because I'm going to blend the other way. So when I do this, I put all that white in there, and then I start blending the other way. It lightens up as I go into the white. So a lot of times I'll lay a color down, like let's say I wanted a little hint of yellow or green or something, and I would just tap the little yellow there, and then I would blend it with that light color. And it depends on how big of a piece of art that you're doing to which pen you should be using. So if I'm trying to do a really big blend, I'll use the 7Ms. The 7Ms are good for anything a little bit larger, like on surfboards, the 7Ms are a must. If you're trying to paint a surfboard with the 5s, it's going to take you, you can do it, but it's going to take you forever. Now this is another technique. I'm going to fill some of this stuff in. You'll see, to break up a blend, I'll add to things like I'll start doing dots. You know, like if it's underwater, I'll start doing these like little bubble things to try to fade that blend even more. And these are like little tricks and things to help you just make it not look so scratchy, or you know, some people mentioned about you can see the marks of the pen. And my answer to that is I either use that to my advantage, or I try to break it down with dots, something like this. And it's important that you have different size dots. So I might do really big ones and then kind of small ones, something like this. But I might come get the smaller pen and go like that. And then I could actually go all the way down to black down here and then do the blue. But this is mainly just to try to show you that simple blend that I get. Now, if I was going to try to get in here with all these other little bubbles, I would want to accentuate these bubbles and not want them to blend in with everything else. So I might put a little bit of dark blue just to accentuate it. So can you guys see that? It's like wet. And then I'll take this light blue and go around it. And so I'm not doing like a complete blend. I'm just trying to darken this pen up to be able to separate these bubbles from the background. And so these are things that you're constantly doing just to either pop something or have something fade away. And I just do it naturally. So a lot of times during some of the other paint parties, I kind of forget that, you know, I'm doing something that not everybody's catching. And it's all about trying to, you know, there again, either pop something or have it fade away. And if you do it right, or there's really no right, there's either better or not as good. All I can say is, like, practice, you can all of a sudden kind of get the effects that you want. And then so now that I got this kind of close, I can come back with this one and kind of fade into it like this.
So we have a couple questions, and before I get to the questions, I just want to say we've got Jill on from London, and we have Dash all the way from Okinawa, Japan.
Wow, that's cool.
So Andrew Johnson wants, he said, I've been having problems blending on wood. What is the best way to do that?
So that's a great question. So it's the same principle. So you need to put some type of fixative on there or some kind of sealant so that it doesn't wick. So what I mean by wick is that the paint like gets into the fibers of the wood and it's like sucking it right off the surface. So by coating it, even like really just a little bit, will allow it to create a barrier between those two, and the paint will glide on top. So, you know, I paint on wood a lot and I love it. It works really well. Sometimes with wood too, you'll get like this little bit of fur on it, like just real subtle. Like you don't notice it when you're looking at the wood, but when you start to paint it, you notice it. You're like, oh man, what's this? So with wood, you usually want to lightly sand it with like maybe 600 grit sandpaper and then coat it, or you can coat it and then sand it and then coat it again. I've done it every which way. The skateboards that I paint are usually varnished, and I actually have to knock the shine off the varnish because they're like high gloss. And that way it makes it a little bit easier to paint. If I didn't knock that gloss off the varnish, the paint would not stick as easy. You would have like a separation. So if you have your paint separating, that means there's something on it. So that's a real problem, especially with surfboards too. So for those of you who want to paint a surfboard and haven't had the opportunity, it's real important that you clean the surfboard off super well. There's some videos that I've done that show you how to do this. It's quite the process, because the wax and the dirt and chemicals that have been on there all get into the little strands of fiberglass, and that'll really prevent the paint from sticking. But even if you get the paint to stick, the clear coat that you put on afterwards won't stick, and it'll just pop off. And so then your painting won't be saved. So there's a lot of little technical aspects to all the things that I paint and create that have nothing to do with like art. You know, it's all like these little secrets that I've learned over the years. And, you know, please keep asking questions, because there's tons of things that I just take for granted that I know. And if I know you're having problems with them, I can answer the question, and for sure somebody else is having that problem too.
And we have a couple questions about Canvas, but I just wanted to mention that on Friday, speaking of painting on skateboard decks, we have Jimbo Phillips, one of the artists that's known for creating art for Santa Cruz Skateboard Company. He's going to be our guest artist on Friday, and Drew and Jimbo will be painting skateboard decks. So I'm sure we're going to talk about that a little more on Friday, right, Drew? Yeah, we sure will. And you know, so I imagine we're going to have people painting on everything, but a lot of people are going to want to paint on skateboards. And so they're probably going to paint on an old deck, or maybe a blank deck that they bought online. So we're going to have to address these problems all over again. There's people who are going to be wondering what they should do. But yeah, it's all simple stuff. It's something everybody can be able to do at home, and you know, easy enough. So you guys can kind of see how I've been playing with these blends and making certain things pop with the little pens, and adding these dots to break things up. I could get a nice clean blend if I wanted to, but I like making it look more organic. So that kind of goes that way. So now that I showed you that, I'm going to do like a little flame job here. And I think I did this in an early episode. Let me do it.
While you're drawing that, let me ask the question. Rita from Oceanside said she was given a padded canvas, medium texture artist canvas. Is that something that would work without a coating?
I'm sure it's probably already been gessoed, I'm assuming. So the answer is yes, if it's been gessoed. If it's like one of the little, like similar to this one, like the little store-bought canvas, it's fine. And so this is something that I didn't know, like when I was starting out. I just thought canvas was canvas. I didn't know about all the tooth and different finishes on there. So this is kind of a cheap canvas. This is Art Alternatives, and this is what I use for all our, you know, kind of like quick things. And they're really cheap. It's like kind of a really flat gesso. The pen glides really well on it. If you wanted more glide, you might spray this. It's not really necessary. It doesn't soak in too much. But if you do want it to stay wetter longer, the different things that you can do is have more of a light spray on there so that it glides more. And then as we saw with Phil, I don't do this so much. Sometimes if it's really hot out, I'll brush a little bit of water on here. Not enough to like bead up, but just enough to wet it to where it'll allow it to blend even better. And then we even use, if you're working on a big piece and it's hard to get something to blend on a big piece because you can't get it on there fast enough, you might use an extender. And so what that is a blending extender, which allows the paint to stay wet longer. And I'm not sure what that chemical is in it, but sometimes it'll stay wet for a really long time. So you can keep playing with it and it works great with the Posca pens. He does a lot of portraits and waves and things. So it ends up kind of looking like a watercolor, but also kind of like oils, like, because you can just kind of go dab back in there and mix it. And if you don't like something, once it dries, you can kind of go over it and fix it. So most of you are probably using the 5s, the 5M pen. So I'm going to work with the 5s. And there again, if you're doing blends on something about this size, which is I think a 9x12, you would work with the 5s. If you want to, be able to do this faster, and it's just kind of like a generic blend, like you could use the 7s. Anything bigger than this, you really need the 7s because you just can't do it fast enough in your blend. You're just like going like this. So let's do some of these like little flame guys, because I like kind of showing people a way to blend this. So instead of doing this like real streaky blend, what I'm going to do is do each one of these flames one at a time and kind of show you how I do it. But this is a technique and consistency. And if you do something consistent all over, it ends up having a really cool effect. So what I'm going to imagine is this needs to kind of like, it's kind of like radiating from the outside in. And so hopefully everybody can see that okay.
See it perfectly.
I've been working really hard to set up my place so everybody can see.
Doing a great job of it.
So these like little half like things where I'm like kind of having it shoot out like that kind of shows you where I want the blend to go. And then all I'm going to do is take the next color. I start with the darkest color in the combination, and then I go half in and half out and just go. And this is how I do everything. And it's important to go fast and consistent while the paint is wet. And this is kind of like a, we can create like starburst effects or something. It's amazing how I've seen, I know Jason Rideout's on here. I mean, I remember when you came and your stuff was good, and then, we hung out for that weekend, and your stuff is amazing. You're doing such a great job. Maybe if you're out there, if you want to say hi to us and show us some of your stuff, it would be great to get your opinion on learning to blend and stuff.
I'm going to grab his painting that he left us, and I'm going to show that.
And he did that while he was here. But you see, I'm doing this like consistent, kind of all the way through. And maybe I want to even lighten that up a little bit. I'll clean my tip off. That's the other thing. This has a little blue on it from blending over there. I'll take it on my table, clean it off. Should be good to go. And then do that right in the middle. And that adds a little thing. Now, what's cool about that is it has this neat look, and I could just repeat this all the way down. But then what I'm probably end up doing with this is then accenting the outside the other way. And then all of a sudden that red gets popped off. Now, if we were doing something even smaller, we'd go all the way down to the 3s. And you're doing that when you're like, painting leaves or something. And you're not just painting the leaf individually, but you're doing like each individual little section in between the veins of the leaf. And if you break it down all the way to that level, you can get some really cool effects.
I just want to remind everybody that if there's something that you want to go back and watch over again, we are reposting all of these paint parties on YouTube under the Brophy Art Academy YouTube channel. So you'll be able to rewatch this. And I also wanted to just make a couple more shout outs if I can.
Yeah.
CJ from Okinawa and Lucy from Spain, Melinda Merritt from Myrtle Beach, Ronnie from Western Australia is back with us again.
Cool.
And I'm going to spotlight myself for just a second because I want to show Jason's painting that he did when he came to visit us. Oh, you know what? It's not going to work. Never mind.
Bring it to me.
Okay, I'll bring it to you.
He's got
I
a
just
crazy
realized
back-
my virtual background won't let it work.
So I'm going to use these 7Ms on this next one just to show you the difference of how it's kind of hard to do this. Okay, here comes Jason's painting.
There we go.
So this is Jason's painting that he did here. And you can see his blends in the sky and really cool. And so this was last year sometime. He came and did a paint event with us. And Jason, are you out there? Let's get Jason on here.
If he, let's see if he's
Ra-
out there.
if he
Jason, can we bring you on? There you are. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna unmute you if you don't mind. I'm gonna spotlight you. There you are.
There he
Hey,
is.
how's it going, guys? Yeah, that was a fun little painting. Got a little treasure island going on there. It was great to hang out with you guys out in Cali. Hopefully I can do it again sometime. So for the last 2 months, I've been a little sick. I had a virus, and then it went and created fluid around my heart. So spent a little time in the hospital. Now I'm out. Now I'm feeling better out, exercising and that sort of thing. I'm starting to paint some more. I gotta let the dogs out for a second.
Let the dogs out. Oh, it's so good to see Jason.
This piece here, this is of a friend down in Denver. He's a BMX rider, so this is one of my latest pieces. And yeah, definitely
Wow.
it's interesting trying to figure out how to blend in a dry climate, but yeah, it's something like this. It's fun doing this tree. I definitely get inspiration from you guys, what you're doing out there. I try not to steal any of your style, but it ends up looking, you know, there's like some things that really pop. So I borrow a few things, but yeah, this is what I get.
I love the tones in that. It's just, you definitely have your own style, and it's really awesome. It's so much fun to watch.
Yeah, it's
watch you
definitely.
see what you create.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm still working on like trying to figure out how to do like leaves and grass and that sort of stuff. What colors work best, and what colors to work, like opposing colors like in the sky compared to like ones on the ground. So I'll share you a few other pieces here, if you don't mind.
Please. We should just had you be the guest artist today.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm still sort of getting better, so I don't know if I'm up to that task yet, but maybe next week we could do something.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
So this is me like trying to figure out how to do like a starry sky with some mountains. I didn't quite blend the mountains. I tried a different technique, and then it moves on down to these trees with this graveyard down here and a little rabbit.
Yeah.
Fun
I love some of the snow scenes you've been doing, man.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I'm trying to like bring style into snow. So this one here is one of, I guess it's Corbett's Couleur Jackson Hole. I'm trying to learn like a little snow technique here to create a couloir down with a skier in the mountains. Yeah, it's definitely a learning process. And when you told me to start using different width pens, that helped out a lot. That helped out so
Really?
much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good to know. Awesome. Thank you, Jason.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you for spotlighting me there.
Yeah. You know, I'm glad you're feeling better, and yeah, we'll reach out and we'll do something together soon. And man,
Sweet.
your art has been, it's really been great to see it progress. And Yeah, you're like, as far as the snow stuff goes, man, you're the man.
Thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you. Yeah, I'm gonna keep on practicing, man. That's what it's all about. It's like, how do I make this better each time, you know?
Yeah. And if we come through there, I want to come visit and go hang out.
Yeah.
Sounds
We
good.
definitely-
Yeah. Hopefully this stuff clears up. Who knows? You know, it's you never know what's gonna happen. So I
Yeah.
guess just wait it out and keep on working, you know?
Yeah, that's right. Cool, man. Thanks for talking.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm going to ask Timothy Van Wyen said, Drew, you're the first guy I've ever seen use Posca on surfboards for Lost. And he wants to know, how did you fall in with Poscas? How did you start using the Poscas?
So I think I told this story last time, but so
Tell
as
the short version of it.
a short version, yeah. So I was a teenager and I was living in South Carolina, and I was painting surfboard. I was painting my own boards, and then started painting surfboards for a factory. And at that time, it was just strictly airbrush with big automotive guns. And you're always trying to figure out how to do it faster, because, you know, if you're only making $20 or a surfboard, you know, it takes you, you know, 4 or 5 hours to do it, then you're not really making much money. So I had heard that in Hawaii, somebody had brought a pen that you could do pin lines with from Japan. And I heard it was called Posca. Evidently, they had just come out a couple years earlier in Japan, and they were made for children. So these pens are originally made for like little kids to paint on poster board. So that's why the name is Posca. It's poster, like kid art or something. So it's kind of a weird acronym that the Japanese came up with. But they just happen to be really good for working on foam and fiberglass. So I had mentioned this to my parents over the dinner table, and they had their friends over from down the street. And it just so happened that that friend was an executive with a company where he had to go to Japan once a month. So he overheard the conversation, and he decided that he was going to try to find those pens for me while he was over there, and he found them. And I came home to a little box, and I didn't know what to do with them at first, but I painted my first surfboard with them, and that was like about 1989. And it instantly changed the way I painted surfboards. It took another probably 6 to 8 years before I got it into the mainstream. And once everybody thought the idea was dumb, and then once the public decided it was cool, I went from like a 0 to hero. So that's the short version.
0 to hero. Well, you're my hero.
And I should say, you know, I took these pens and I used to travel around the world with them. So I traveled and worked in different surfboard factories around the world, painting surfboards. I painted anywhere from 10 to 20 surfboards a day in factories. I worked in 16 different countries around the world for weeks, if not a month at a time. And I took the Posca pens with me. There were a lot of times the first time they'd ever seen Poscas. And my dream always was that every little surf town and art place should have an artist customizing stuff with Poscas. And I think that has come true now. So it's been a cool journey.
So we have a couple questions we're going to jump on. Ivy wanted to know what size pen you're using right now, and I thought it might be good to hold up the 5M next to the 7M to show the difference between the two.
Yeah. So yeah, and that's what I was going to show them. So this first flame I did with the 5s, and
Hold the 5 up.
the 5 is this, and the tip looks like this. So you can see the right here it says PC5M. That's where you find the names. So that's a 5. But what the difference is these are sharp, like little. Let me see if I can get it to focus in. Mine's a little blurry, but I don't know if you can see it. but these are sharp, like little hatch marks. These are very broad. So you can see how this was done with the 7s, this was done with the 5s. So when I'm doing a surfboard, you know, when you get something a little bit bigger, you're able to control this stroke and create like texture. And you create that texture within the blend. So if I do this just like kind of here with the 5, so let's say it's like really big and I'm just like trying to create this like hatchety texture, right? I do something like that, I immediately just half in and half out. And you got to be real careful not to overwork stuff. So if you go back over a couple times, it just turns into like all one color. So you don't want to overwork it. And this whole idea is about being able to do something like in one pass and make it look cool. So you can see these like strokey lines, and I'm going to go back half in, half out, and you can see the orange is coming out of this yellow pen. But you see how I do that all in like really quick. And then I could even go to white, you know, so. But you don't want to go back over it too many times because then it gets overworked. So can you see that?
Yeah, it looks, yes, perfect.
And you can see it does have a little bit of the textury feel to it, but there again, I'm using that to my advantage. So like on the flame or like it's a bubble or whatever, I try to use those lines to give it shape and guide the line so it gives it, you know, more shape and texture. So I'll do this last little flame. And keep the questions going so we can.
Okay, there's a few more questions, but I want to remind everybody that if you want to share your work, we'd love to see it. All you have to do is either hit the little raise hand function or write it in the chat. And write in the chat that you want to share if you're having, sometimes people have trouble finding the raise hand function. And I already have a couple people that want to share.
Cool.
So what I'm going to do is share a couple and then we'll move on to a couple questions. Okay.
Sure.
So Santino, if you are ready, we are ready for you. Santino, hi.
What's up, bro?
Hi. Thanks for the butterfly.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're welcome. Don't forget to send me your mailing address.
I won't.
Send it to you. Okay.
I have a question. Well, a few questions. First, when I'm painting something big, I usually get like my hand like all painted and then I screw up something else.
Yeah.
Like, how would I avoid that if I don't have like a lot of space to move around?
Yeah, so that is a common thing. So everybody I've taught to paint surfboards for the first time, they like ruined the like first or few boards because they were working on it and then they dragged their arm through it because the paint's still wet. Now you have to become very disciplined either to be able not to put your arm down. And so if you notice when I'm painting, I hardly ever put my arm down because I'm used to it. So it's been training myself. Or you could work from one side to the other. So I've had to train some of those guys like, look, you don't paint here. Don't paint on this side first. Paint on this side first and work your way back. So you're not ever going through your paint. So it takes some thought of like, okay, what am I actually doing? Especially when you're painting fast, like in surfboards, like we'll spend only like 15 minutes on a board. So this whole process is relatively fast. If you drag your arm through it and mess it up, it's going to take you more time to fix it than to do it right the first time. So, you know, these are costly mistakes when you're working, you know, in a place where you're trying to make money for yourself. And not to mention it usually comes out worse. It doesn't look as clean. So the answer to the question is number one, discipline, but also thought about what you're doing. So sometimes people have, I forget what the thing is, like a piece of wood that they hold that they can rest their arm on. I forget what that thing's called. Anybody out there want to, it's like a stick and they do it for oil paintings. But yeah, just, you know, the more you paint that you'll probably have to mess up a few more and you'll get tired of messing them up and you'll stop doing that. You got another question, Santino?
My other question would be, hey, when are you doing like a surfboard paint party?
You know what I got in the works, and I've been trying to work on it, is I'm trying to get Griffin, Colapinto, and maybe Ian Crane and some of the other San Clemente guys, maybe Kolohe or something, to do a surfboard painting contest. So I'm going to teach them all to paint.
If we're gonna do that, we better do it quick while there's still a quarantine, because once the quarantine's over, those guys are impossible to nail down.
Yeah, those guys are
So-
really competitive. So I might ask if they can teach me to do like an air reverse, I'll teach them to paint. But that's,
right.
I'm trying to work that out, Santino. It'll be really cool if we pull it off.
And one last question. So if I want to paint over something else, right? So like here,
Yeah.
I painted there, and I want to change it, right? Like,
Yep.
I want to go over it. Like, do I have to do anything with this paint? Because sometimes it's kind of like screws up when I paint over it.
Yeah. Well, that looks really good, by the way. It looks
Thank you.
cool. Yeah. I haven't seen that one.
No, it's a new one.
New
It's like
one.
the dragon one, and I added a few things.
Yeah. I really like how you did the dragon, like swirling in the barrel. That's awesome.
Yeah. So I wanted like to go somewhere else, but I don't really like how it looks. So I might do it like continuing the wave, and then the waves turns into this.
Yeah. So you want to take the red out?
Yeah, and turn the red into green and blue.
Yeah. So I'm not sure if you're up for it, but it looks like you're doing a great job so far. What you could do is take acetone on a little rag, or even like glass cleaner, and you could just rub that section off. Because have you sealed it yet?
No, I haven't.
Yeah. So as long as you haven't sealed it, you can kind of use glass cleaner and just, you know, take that paint off. You could just paint over it, but it would be, the better way to do it would be just take the paint off. And so it
Okay.
comes off pretty easy. You would need like you know, like a sponge with a scuff pad on the other side, and just be real careful not to mess up the other paint. But it really doesn't matter, because you know how to paint, and if you damage the other one, like the dragon or something, you could fix it pretty easy.
All right, sweet.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, and you won't even have to get all of it off, just the majority. Like there might be a couple little deep spots where it sticks, but you'll be able to paint right over that.
All right, let's go. Let's hop over to Hot Rod. Hot Rod, are you ready?
Yes, I've been painting a guitar here.
Whoa, you're going off, man.
It took a little while, but turned out not too bad.
It looks so good.
Thank you. That stick you were talking about, Drew, is called a maul stick. A maul stick.
A maul stick, yeah.
Okay.
You know, it just makes me feel really good. I mean, like, it looks like you've been doing art for a long time, so you're catching on real quick.
For a while, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, and we just saw Santino, and we've really seen Santino progress.
Oh, for sure. He's doing great.
Yeah, what a joy it is that we're all learning from each other. You know, and if anybody like yourself have learned some techniques, please share what's working with you. What do you find that's working really good, and what do you like about the pens, and what do you have trouble with?
Well, I've used the pens for quite a while, but like even watching Phil Roberts, he talked about blending with a wet brush. I'd blended with a dry brush before, but I never even thought about blending with a wet brush. I thought it would just dissolve it too much. But
Yeah,
little things like that, and all the stuff you're teaching about blending and stuff is really great.
yeah, thanks. And you know, that Andrew Samuel, he was another one that uses the brush, and he gets those big like leaves and stuff, and he gets so much nice texture and flow. And he didn't know about using water or an extender. He was just doing that just with the paint wet, which
Right.
must have been very frustrating. But so we're
All right,
all
let's-
learning little techniques. Thank you.
So believe it or not, we only have 15 minutes left. It goes quick. So I'm gonna fly through a few more people. Sefe, sorry,
Hi,
Hey, what's
Hi,
up, man?
Did I get your name right this time?
Sefe.
Sefe, what's up?
Hi.
So what
Very
do you
good. I've been working on this.
Oh, wow. And that's some kind of bat? It-
You can think whatever you want.
yeah, it looks good.
Love it. That's
And-
awesome.
And are you just in the next room from Santino?
Yeah, next to him.
Yeah.
I have some drawings I have from before this one.
Oh, that one's cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
There's
Here he is.
Santino.
Here comes tell Santino to get back in his room.
That's fun.
And I have this one.
Oh, that's cool. So you like a lot of video games and anime stuff?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, that's like really fun stuff to draw. It's like nice.
Awesome.
And this one too. I love like extra natural animals, like
Yeah.
super weird from movies,
Yeah.
things like that.
Yeah, me too. I like dinosaurs and dragons and griffins, all kind of cool stuff. Good job, brother.
I
Okay,
also
now
got
we,
plenty of dinosaurs too.
Yeah, dinosaurs are great.
all right, let's go to Dash. Dash.
Oh,
Hey, what's up, Dash?
Hey, man.
what's going
Show
on?
us what you're working on.
Well, I actually did this yesterday, but the blending class came in handy because there were parts that I was touching up because the blends didn't quite go together.
Oh, wow. Look at that. Yeah, you're getting the blends nice now. Yeah.
The
It's getting a little
blend
better.
is friend.
And Dash, where are you where are you joining us from?
Okinawa. I'm with CJ. out
Oh,
here.
yeah.
But this was from the Rose video. I missed the class, but
Oh, that looks good.
Yeah.
yeah, my laptop case doesn't have much more room. But
Yeah, you're gonna have everything painted before you know it.
yeah, I appreciate the blending techniques. It's made a difference. I can see it.
You guys got any waves over there in Okinawa to surf?
Not on the east or the west side in the last couple days, but
Yeah.
it's supposed to come back probably in a few days, hopefully.
Right on. I hear it's beautiful there, man.
All right, let's
Oh,
go say hi to Shaka. Shaka, you there? Shaka.
Hey, man,
Hi.
what's up? Let's see.
I'm doing this.
Oh, a little beach scene. Right on.
Wow.
So you're working on the sky. That's a lot of white to cover. You up for it?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. I look forward to seeing it done.
Awesome.
I like
Thank
the
you.
airplane over your head. Did you build that?
Yes.
Yeah. You know, when I was your age, I had airplanes flying all over my room. I loved them. It was really cool.
Thanks for sharing. All right, well, now we're going to hop over to Lance. Lance, are you ready? There you are. Hi.
What's going on?
Doing well. I'm sitting here painting with my daughter Stella. We're in Charlotte.
Right on,
We've
man.
been working with the blending. I've never really been able to blend very well, so we've both been working on it. What you working on, Stella?
You getting the hang of it still? Oh yeah, you are.
So,
Cool. So you can see how that wood kind of like sucks up the paint, huh?
yeah, I'm also painting on wood. I think I realized you're supposed to, I guess, put like a primer on there or gesso on there to kind of help out.
Yeah, or even just the clear spray. But you can probably also feel that like fur of the wood, even though it seems pretty smooth. It catches the tip of the pen.
Yeah, it makes it really hard to actually put lines down. I've been struggling. This is what I'm working on.
Oh yeah, that looks awesome.
But,
That that poor cow.
yeah, that's what I've been working on, the blending. The part of the light sucking him up into the sky.
Yeah, so go all the way to white around them. It'll look really cool, you know?
What was that? I'm sorry.
You can take it all the way to white, you know, yellow to white, because it won't turn into white. It'll be like kind of like just almost yellow white, and it'll just give you more contrast. So
Awesome.
yeah,
Oh,
but that
Thank
looks
you.
great, man. Good job.
awesome. So we're going to share Jim, and then we're going to move on to Finn, our friend Finn. But we're going to Jim first. So Finn, you get ready. Hi, Jim. What's up?
Hey, Jim.
you guys doing?
Are you gonna?
Awesome.
Oh, wow! Look at this.
Butterfly blends. I got a question, Drew.
Sure.
On these really tight lines, what's a trick for blending when you're trying to do a real tight blend?
A really tight blend, just a smaller pen.
Yeah, I've tried that. I just seem to kind of like oversaturate it sometimes.
Yeah. So
Down in here.
yeah, like that dark blue one looks really good.
Yeah, but the white into the light blue, it just, I didn't get that to blend very well.
Yeah. Practice, practice, practice.
There you go.
The you know, the other thing is really focus on your stroke, like so it's the same stroke over and over again, and
Right.
not getting it too wild, you know. So almost like a machine, like, and that'll help. All right, you're probably gonna be excited for the Jimbo Phillips.
100%. I'm so excited for that one.
Yeah, we're hoping that he brings his dad on, but he's pretty old, so he might not be up for it.
Yeah.
Did you just say that? All right, we're going to move on to someone who's really young. Finn McCartay. Let's see, we're into Mr. Finn the Goat. There we
What up,
go.
Finn?
What's up?
Hi, Drew.
Hey, you've been painting a lot, huh? Let's see it.
Yeah, I made this yesterday.
Man, good thing you got all those pens.
Yeah, and then this is my butterfly from yesterday.
Oh, wow, that's killer.
Thanks.
So did your sister paint too?
Yeah.
Yeah, is she there?
Yeah.
There she is.
Hi, Eva.
What did you paint?
She's painting this right there.
Oh, doing the flowers. All right.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Gorgeous. Awesome. Well, thank you. Thanks
You're
for
gonna-
sharing, you two.
Yeah, you're gonna have to get your dad painting.
That's right. Bring
All
him
right,
to the
guys.
next party. All right, now we're going to go to Jocelyn Fitzgerald. Jocelyn, if you're ready. Hi.
Hey, Jocelyn.
Hi. I'm needing this phone case.
Oh, cool. Is that
Hold
Earth
it
with
up
space?
again. Can you hold it up?
Is that Earth with space?
Awesome.
Yeah.
And here's a butterfly from the other time.
Oh, wow. Did you enjoy the butterfly class?
Yeah.
Yeah, wasn't Andrea amazing? All her big butterflies. So if you practice with little butterflies, then you maybe draw a big butterfly somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing. All right, I think we have a few more people, and I'm just going to scroll through. Okay, we've got Julie. Julie is raising her hand. Let's go there. Hi, Julie.
Hey, I recognize you from today.
Yeah, hi. Hey, I want to do something like this, want to just play with it. I'll have to get smaller size pens, but it's paper. You said something about spraying it to seal it. Can I use this on paper?
Yeah, you can. So like with something like that, you can make like really flat colors, excuse me. But to get the blend, you kind of spray it. So like I usually put, like a fixative.
Okay.
Like when you do a pencil drawing or something and you want to spray it so it doesn't smear. It's that
Right.
same type of stuff.
I've
And,
got some.
And what's
So
really
you put that on top?
Yeah, you put that on top, and what happens is it'll allow you to put, like, you can kind of go over those black lines, and then you can use the Posca pens to do black, like redo the black lines, and so you could really be able to do a lot of cool stuff. And we do have smaller pens. We have 3Ms, and then we actually have 1s.
Okay,
So-
I gotta see you tomorrow then.
Yeah, you can come by tomorrow, and I'll show you those.
Thank
Okay,
you.
and
Yeah.
we're going to go to Brittoni now, our good friend Brittoni. Brittoni is doing something really, really cool, and I asked her to share it. Wait a minute, trying to unmute. Hang on. There we go. Hi, how are you, gorgeous?
Hi, thank you. How are you?
Good.
I
So
love
show
your
us your
background.
love cell.
Thank you. That's real, the background.
Yeah, that's a real background.
We live on 11 acres.
Wow.
So it's a nice place to quarantine.
Yeah.
But,
Right.
so I designed, when I first saw the coronavirus, I immediately imagined like little hearts at the end of the tentacles on the cell. And then one night when I couldn't sleep, I was like, draw it, like, you know, the little voice inside your head.
Yeah.
So I did, and then I painted it with my Posca pens.
Oh, it looks so good.
Thanks. I did. The blending was like very frustrating, so I just dotted everything.
Yeah, and so that's great that you brought that up, because that's another thing that you could do is go dark to light with the dots.
Yeah.
And that was
Especially
probably
with all like the tight spaces, I was like, I could not figure it out. So I was just like, okay, I'm gonna dot everything. I literally got out my paintbrush. I was like, okay, I'm giving up. I'm gonna do it with my acrylics. And then the idea came into my head, like, dot it. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, and these are perfect for dotting too. What size pens were you using? The 5s or 3s?
I the one that came in your packet, the 5s, and
Yeah.
then I also have 1s. So then, like, I did the 3s, and then over on top of that, I did 1s.
Yeah, and the 1s you can get super fine little dot patterns.
Yeah, which I like really fine details, which I do with all my drinkware stuff. So
Yeah, and that works really good. Like if you're working on something small, folks, like it works really good. Like those little hearts. I mean, you could really get in there, and it's a little maddening doing the dots though.
So, Brittany, will you put your web address in the Zoom chat, in the group chat, for anybody that wants to learn more about this whole movement you created with the Love Cell?
yes, I would love to. So the concept, just real quick, is that you can print out the template and color it in yourself and design one yourself. And then my like guerrilla marketing idea is to have them painted on buildings and windows all over the world.
Beautiful. I love it. And I'm going to share a link to that in the next newsletter that we send out, because not everybody's going to see it in the chat. Put it in the chat, but I'll also put it in the newsletter, and we will spread the word. Spread the love cell is what we're going to do.
Yeah, good to see you again.
Yeah, good to see you. Thank you. Oh, and we had 111 people on about 2 minutes ago.
Wow.
111.
That's great.
Very auspicious number.
Well,
So we have a lot of questions about the paint pens, and we only have a couple minutes left. I just want to let everybody know, and a lot of the questions that you're asking have to do with how long do the pens last? What do you do to get the paint flowing better? And just basic how to use them. And we do have a video where Drew goes greatly into detail about it. And I'm going to include that video in one of our next newsletters. If you are not on our newsletter list and you want to be, go to brophyartacademy.com and you can get on our newsletter list, because we do send out information that's really helpful if you love painting with Poscas.
Yeah. So I'm blacklining my flames right now. And this brings up another thought that I had about getting good fine lines. So with canvas, it has a tooth to it, so it's hard to get like a really fine line. So you want to be aware of like whatever you're painting or whatever your desired effect is, you want to be able to have the proper material. So like on surfboards, it's a sanded fiberglass surface. It's super flat and I can get super fine lines. The canvas is actually kind of more painterly and it's hard to get like a fine line on it. So sometimes I'll sand these things if it's something that, you know, I'm doing for real for a client, or I'll paint on wood, or I'll paint on like a gessoed hardboard that's been sanded. That feels just like a surfboard. So there's all different things that, depending on what your desired outcome is, you can get finer lines. Like on Jason's piece here, this is a piece of masonite board. So it's a piece of masonite that's been gessoed white and it's super fine. So this is actually a great surface to paint with paint pens. These are a little bit more expensive than just the cheap canvases, but it's a better material for pens.
So a couple people asked if you can use how these pens work on glass. And the quick answer is they work great.
Yeah, they sure do.
And they come off very easily when you want them to.
Yeah, so a lot of people have used these for window displays. And if you ever go to somewhere like Trader Joe's, they use them on chalkboards. But the glass painting, I don't know if you were on Friday's call, our friend Ross McLean painted on a piece of glass. And what's cool about, like, as a piece of art, he painted on both sides. So he did it in reverse on one side, and then he tightened it up on the other side and added effects, and it gave it this 3D, he did this koi fish. And that was actually one of the cooler pieces of glass I've ever seen painted. So it works really good. If you're into doing lettering and stuff with the chisels, so the 8mm pen, or they call it the 8K, it has a chisel tip, and then there's a 17 that's a bigger, it's like a blunt chisel tip. It's amazing that the type of lettering and things that you can do on glass for like store displays or things like that. So it works great.
So why don't we bring just one last person on? I always say that, and then I end up bringing more people on. So, but let's go to Andrew Johnson very quickly. Andrew, if you're still ready.
What's up, Andrew? Howdy. Whoa, we got some paintings coming in there. That's looking good.
Yeah.
I wish I was on that wave. And you got your palm tree going?
Did I not unmute? I thought I did. Awesome.
We can see it, we just can't hear.
Gorgeous.
Right on, guys.
All right, we're one more person. I always do that. Crystal, Constantine, Crystal.
Hi.
Hey, how are you?
Good. I've got a couple pieces to share. So I've been taking the sort of tutorial classes. So here's my flower.
Oh, that's great. I love all the water drops.
Yeah, and then this is my tiki.
Oh my.
That's awesome. I love how you took, so Crystal, you've been taking Drew's online Posca Painter course, right?
Yeah, and I learned of Drew. I used to teach in Waianae on Oahu, and so I learned of your work on the North Shore.
Yeah.
The little like Haleiwa marketplace was selling some of your pieces. So I actually have 3 of your pieces.
No way.
Yeah, and then this is just like a upcycle container from something I bought. I did dolphins on this.
You look like you're having a lot of fun. That's awesome.
Love it.
Yeah, it's fun. And I'm just now starting. I'm kind of behind. I haven't done the rose, but this is my
Ooh, yeah. The
mushroom.
And so are you still in Hawaii?
No, now I'm in Illinois. I teach in Illinois, teaching from home as of right now. But
as of right now.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. Teaching in Waianae must have been an experience. I want to go back there and do some free art classes and just hang out in the parks and stuff and tell all the kids they can come out and paint. And I used to do that when I was living over there, and I couldn't believe like how much fun it was just painting in a park with a bunch of kids.
Yeah, for sure. They're awesome kids. I love the Hawaiians. So yeah, if you're ever on the west coast of Oahu, Waianae Intermediate is 7th and 8th grade. It's a great school, great kids, and
yeah, before this this whole event happened, we were slated to go all over the country. And in November, we're going to go to Hawaii, and we were going to go to all the schools and all the events.
We are doing it all next year. 2021 is going to be the year we travel around with Posca.
So maybe 2021 we're going to do it. But it was on the list. It was one of the things I want to do, and go to a lot of the schools and just paint in the parks. And do the same thing that we're doing right here, but just doing it live.
In person, yeah.
In
So much
person.
fun. And any of you that we didn't get to you, I'm sorry, there were so many questions. We couldn't get them all, but that's why we keep doing this. So just come back. Every time we do this Posca Paint Party, come back and you're gonna get more information, more information. And if you really want in-depth instruction, you can always get our online, our in-depth online beginner Posca course.
Yeah.
So somebody is going to win these, and we will let you know by email, and we always announce it on our Instagram stories on Brophy Art Academy.
I wish we could do it live, but we do it by a random
number generator. So we wait until this is over, then we get a report of everybody that was on, and then we just do a random generator, and that's why that's why we have to wait. But thanks for being here with us, everybody.
And on Friday, we're not going to have a Wednesday class. Fridays are our
Friday
class.
night paint party.
And with Jimbo Phillips, it's going to be awesome. We're going to be painting skateboards. You don't have to paint a skateboard.
Let's show a skateboard deck.
Yeah. So, but
Here's one.
he paints more than skateboards. He designs all kind of cool stuff. And then of course his dad is the one that did the Screaming Hand and all the Santa Cruz skateboards art. And what I really love about it is, here in California, you kind of have Southern California scene, and then you kind of have a Northern California scenes. And those guys are holding it down in Northern California. And it's going to be great to hang out and paint. And
it's going to be very casual.
Yeah, casual.
More
just like
fun,
this.
less instruction. But hey, just come hang out with us.
Yeah, so look up some of Jimbo's stuff if you don't know him. And
Jimbo Phillips.
And get inspired with his crazy creatures and crazy waves and skateboards.
And we'll see you all Friday. Thanks for
everyone.
hanging out with us. Ciao.